This is WZRD Chicago 88.3 FM. And we have with us Wanees Zarour. He is a multi-talented musician. You combine jazz with maqam, and maqam is when I look at the definition and I listen to your music, it kind of sounds like an Arabic version of jazz.
That's a very good way to think about it. There are a lot of different similarities between maqam and jazz. Maqam is basically a modal system that's used in Arabic, Turkish, and a lot of different musical traditions in the Middle East.
Mhm.
And it's microtonal, so some of the um, pitches and tones that we play would be kind of tones that are in between the black and white keys on a piano, for example.
Wow.
So it's yeah, it's pretty fascinating when we think of it this way, and it's very improvisational too. It's both composed and but there's a lot of improvisation. There are quite a few improvisational elements that are similar to that of the jazz tradition.
Right, that's what I was thinking. And when I listen to your compositions on your album, Silwan, it seems like the best of both worlds. It's so kind of magical, I would say. But uh, how how did you come to combine Middle Eastern with jazz so well?
Thank you. Thanks for you're very kind. I it's it came kind of naturally to me because I kind of straddle both worlds. I'm actually a Palestinian American, and I've grown up in with both Arabic music and jazz. And to me, I love both um, uh, a lot, and I wanted to do something that combined both. To me, they're both just in my uh, ingrained in my being, and it was very important for me to find the language that brings both of these kind of lived experiences together into one cohesive musical experiment.
When you named the title Silwan, that's a Palestinian neighborhood, right?
Yes, it is. Yes, it's a Palestinian neighborhood in Jerusalem.
It's a it's a flashpoint of a lot of things, and then but the actual meaning of it is comfort, consolation, right?
That's correct. Yeah, the name of the meaning of the Arabic word is comfort and consolation. And it's also the name of that town in Jerusalem. That's been through a lot um, since 1948, and especially in recent years, a lot of displacement and ethnic cleansing. So it's been through difficult times for the Palestinians who live in that neighborhood.
Well, it's ironic that it has that name. Hopefully, Silwan will eventually live up to its name.
Well, I deeply hope that this would happen. Yes.
So how did you spend your life in Gaza at any time?
I've actually never been to Gaza. I was born in the West Bank city of Ramallah, which is
Mhm.
very close to Jerusalem, about 20 minutes outside of Jerusalem. Um, it's very, very difficult, nearly impossible for people from the West Bank to reach Gaza, actually,
Mhm.
since I've ever, I mean, I think back in the day it was easier, but now it's completely impossible to go from the West Bank to Gaza. So
Mhm.
I've never been. Unfortunately, it's a beautiful coastal town. Well, it was a beautiful coastal town. Now
Mhm.
it's no more. But I've never had the privilege of seeing it in person.
Mhm. And what was life like in the West Bank? And you started musical training at the age of 7?
Yes, so I started musical training at a very young age in the newly formed at the time Edward Said National Conservatory of Music. that was founded by Suhail Khouri, who's a very important figure in Palestinian music. Um,
And where is that school?
the school,
Yes.
it's basically just a music conservatory for all ages. It accepts everybody, and
Uh,
there was Western classical training and Arabic music training and all kinds of things, and it was one of the first kind of major music institutions in Palestine,
mm.
in recent history at least. So I had the privilege of learning there
How
as a
how
young.
did you how did you apply? How did you get accepted? What made your parents decide to uh try to enroll you there?
I have to give them credit. I think, we do come from a musical family. Several family members who were musicians or are musicians. Um, I have an uncle who's a musician. I have a cousin who played piano at the time when we were kids, and I think I just got jealous and I wanted to do it too. And I did have a lot of musical tendencies. I was, drumming on pots and pans and
Oh,
all that kind of stuff that kids do. Um, I'm just very lucky that my parents did pick up on it and found a way to get me into this conservatory.
mm. And what was the first instrument you played over there?
Violin, yes, and I think I remember the reason it was violin was because there were no other options at the time. There were like very few teachers available, so there was no capacity um, for any other instruments, and basically that's the one that was available, and there was a teacher who turned out to be one of the best teachers I've ever had. Um, and yeah, I learned Western classical violin for quite a bit of time, 6 or 7 years, and then I switched to learning Arabic music on the violin, and I picked up the other instruments like the buzuk and the oud, and continued on the Arabic music journey.
Mm. What were your milestones along this journey?
I think the major, I mean, there are several milestones in this journey. Are you talking about the kind of the conservatory journey or in general?
Your personal musical
My
journey.
Yeah,
Yes.
so you know I think the biggest milestones are one of the major milestones is obviously at an early time was being able um, and having the ability to participate in ensembles and things of that sort. So kind of exploring within the conservatory as a young musician. That was very helpful developmentally in my music career. But really, the biggest milestone is being here in the United States and starting to find ways, essentially, to bring the elements that are available here in Chicago specifically, together with the musical elements that I have and I contribute. So throughout the time I've lived here in Chicago, I participated in multiple different projects with diverse or musicians from very diverse backgrounds. Um, Eventually, I started directing the Middle East Music Ensemble at the University of Chicago, and that's a larger ensemble, and it's been growing. Now it's 85 members,
Mm.
and that's where I got my kind of start in working with larger groups and arranging music that doesn't necessarily fit in the Western mold. So finding creative ways to write for large string sections and wind sections and also incorporating all of this Middle Eastern kind of modal language. Um, Eventually, um, I started also forming ensembles that combine um, uh, the maqam tradition with the jazz tradition, because that was kind of my main focus. I actually went to DePaul and got my graduate studies in jazz composition. So this was I'm very passionate about the jazz tradition. And from there, and another project that I lead here is I co-lead with Farid Haq is the Chicago Immigrant Orchestra.
Mhm.
So kind of if you think about it, all of these are different milestones that kind of funnel into the same theme, which is how can we um, have music be a language that we can all communicate with, regardless of what the tradition is. There's always some commonality, some intersections that make this music kind of interesting, and it makes it bloom, and it makes it sound maybe different, something new. So that's kind of the the different milestones in a nutshell.
Mhm. Well, when you spoke about the first time that you started working with an ensemble, I know that now you're very well versed. But what about in the beginning when you started working with them and your first concert? Were you nervous? What was the audience reaction? And what was the concert and what year?
With the Middle East Music Ensemble,
Yes.
yeah, that's a good question. I started with them in 2010, and I was 20 something years old. I was very young, and
You're still very
it
young.
was. Thank you. I don't know about that, but thank you. Um, yeah, I was early 20s. Um, for the most part, did not have or at that time I didn't have the skill set necessary, or I haven't honed it or developed it quite enough to be able to um, not necessarily just manage a large group, but also arrange and transcribe for a large group. The challenge with this ensemble is that we find recordings of music that exist, that are performed very differently. They're performed in a kind of monophonic way, um,
What do you
with
mean by that?
instruments basically playing the same thing
Oh.
in unison. So
Mm.
all of the instruments are playing the same exact melody with variations and ornamentation and things of that sort. That's how Middle Eastern music works, generally speaking.
Mm.
And it's based on a vocal tradition. So now I'm handed this large group. At the time when I started, I think it was about 20 to 30 musicians. Um, the size of the group has fluctuated um, before and after I started, but it was around the 30, 20 to 30, and which is a large group. And the challenge was not only to like listen to old recordings and try to transcribe it and accurately, but also to find ways to adapt it for a large group without it sounding aggressive, without it sounding like a marching band. But in a sense, I wanted to utilize harmony and different structures and different textures to make the music uh, um, have different colors incorporated with it without losing its authenticity. So does that make sense? So it's very hard. It was challenging, and I remember not sleeping for for weeks on end just to kind of get it done because I was very slow at it, and it was a big learning curve for me.
Mhm.
With time, it's gotten much more efficient, and I've become a much better arranger. Um, Arranging music is my biggest passion by far. I love arranging music. So and arranging for large ensembles specifically and orchestras is one of my favorite things to do. Um, but it was quite a learning experience. Yeah, it was daunting to say the least.
What about the audience reaction to your first concert?
It was very good. It was very good. Actually, there's one of that it's blurry right now, but
Mhm.
that poster in the back, that's actually the first
Oh.
concert I did. It was very good. It was a full house. It was at the International House at the University of Chicago. Now we perform at the Logan Center, the David and Riva Logan Center for the Arts, or Riva and David Logan Center for the Arts in Hyde Park. But at the time, it was the International House. It was the packed house. People liked it. We
Mhm.
did a program and that it was mainly themed around music of Andalusia. Um, so yeah, and it was great. It was all Arabic music, and then I
Mm.
did a Turkish concert and a Persian concert after that. And for a long time, we were just doing Arabic concerts, Persian concerts, and Turkish concerts. Now
Were
we
many,
combine all of them.
wow. Were many other artists doing that, or were you pretty unique in that during that time?
Were there other artists? Can
Yeah,
you?
doing like similar Arabic music and concerts and arranging. Did you have any other like peers in the field?
Yes, yes, there are a lot of musicians around, not only in Chicago but also in the entire United States,
Mhm.
who perform this kind of music.
Mhm.
What's unique about the ensemble at the time and until now, really, is how we go about arranging the music. I think that's the main.
The the
Uh,
mon the monophonic aspect of it, is that what you mean? That's unique or
what's unique about this ensemble that's at the University of Chicago is the fact that we actually make original arrangements for all of
Mhm.
the music that we perform. All of it is original arrangements. So
Mhm.
even if we're picking music from the tradition,
Mhm.
the arrangements of these music, these songs or instrumental pieces are original. I make them specifically for this orchestra. Um, so and they're very interesting. We have large string section. We have a wind section, a horn section. So we incorporate elements of Western classical music in there. We incorporate elements of jazz, quite a bit actually, um, and we find ways to adapt harmony, whether it's classical or jazz harmony, into Middle Eastern music. So that's what's unique about this ensemble.
when you uh, recorded this album and you chose these songs, I kind of see that you combining the same elements, Middle Eastern music, jazz, and classical into the various songs. And then I see that you also name the songs after places. Have you actually been in those places and you feel what those places feel like uh, on their own. Like every place is different. So do you feel that and you try to describe that place in this arrangement in this song in this track?
Yes, exactly. I've been to these places, and this is a reflection of how I feel about these experiences. These places are have a very unique place, not only for kind of the Palestinian experience, but as you know, modern places today, um, going through what they're going through, um, uh, 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 both politically and on a human experience level. They're very challenging places to be in. Um, uh, one of the tunes is called "Cold City," and it's literally about the old city in Jerusalem. When I went one time, and it was completely empty, and it felt like a very cold place. Um, and knowing the city, from the past times I've been there, it's always been a very warm place. But recent events have made it different. So all of these are based on lived experiences. Um, Lifta is an ethnically cleansed, completely ethnically cleansed village in near Jerusalem. That's kind of looks like a time capsule. There's like a lot of, uh, you know, plants growing in on the buildings, on these old buildings that were just uh, left completely empty in 1948. And if you see pictures of it, I basically kind of like imagine, there's a song called Lifta in the album, and
Yes. Mhm.
it's a festive, it's kind of an upbeat song because I'm trying to imagine what life may have been in Lifta before this happened to it,
Do you
and in
have
many
any
ways, kind of.
photos? Do you have any photos to work with of life before 1948 in Lifta?
There are some black and white photos, yeah,
Mm.
yeah, um, But yeah, if you look at it now, it's both beautiful and extremely sad.
Right.
Um, yeah, so this is the whole album kind of tells a story of what it means to both be Palestinian, but also what it means to be Palestinian American, and that's kind of a big portion of it because being a Palestinian American is a little different because you're exposed to all of these um, different parts of humanity that you don't necessarily um, have access to in Palestine, and you're always kind of in a very interesting kind of conflict in a way, right? And this is kind of a musical expression of that kind of identity conflict in a way.
Is there anybody in the audience in the Middle East, in Palestine, in the West Bank, that gave you some feedback? If were they able to listen to your work?
Yes, I do have a lot of peers. I still keep in touch with a lot of people in Palestine, and it's a beautiful thing. Yes, some folks did hear the album and they liked it. I received positive feedback so far from even from former teachers. In fact, one of the pieces in the album was rearranged. I rearranged it for uh, the Palestine Arabic Orchestra,
Oh,
and they performed it. I think it was 2 years ago. Silwan was performed by an orchestra in Palestine
mm,
under the direction of Sohail Khoury, who's basically the founder of this conservatory that I told you about earlier. So that was a very special experience.
mm. Oh, what do you see ahead? I'm sure that um, there's sometimes people are in a quandary about these situations, but I kind of see in you a hope that music could bring another face to the situation. Uh, what do you hope? What do you hope to gain with these beautiful works of yours?
Thank you for this question. I mean, my main hope, and again, when we write music, we don't really kind of we write it because we want to express something sometimes that is very hard to express in words. But my hope for this, and in general of my work, is to um, shed light on people who've had struggles for a long time and have been dehumanized throughout history, and show the beauty of our culture and our heritage and who we are as people, um, and why we deserve life and we deserve dignity, and how similar we are to everybody else, and how our culture and our music and our art intersects with the music and tradition and arts of the American experience, of the Black American experience too, and how we're all, in many ways we're the same. We're very similar, and we have to think about each other and not dehumanize each other.
Your song festival. What festival in were you thinking of when you wrote festival the track in Silwan?
This one was in when living in Palestine. There were a lot of festivals happening there. There's the Palestine International Festival, and there was one that's happening in a village called Berzeit, which is close to Ramallah and has the biggest Palestinian university. Um, and this is kind of about my memory of that festival because it always brought international acts, especially in the early and I would say late 90s, before things became much more difficult there. And it was a place where we went there, as children. We were very inspired by all of this different music that came through. Um, we listened to a lot of different things that that are interesting and different and come from all over the world. We had some I remember hearing Persian musicians for the first time. Um, uh, I remember hearing music from, I believe it was South Africa. We've had Moroccan musicians come through as well. So a lot of different traditions came to that festival, and it was just really wonderful to experience it. And this is just kind of a little kind of nostalgic memory of that.
Oh, because the way I see it, the way you describe it is that you were quite young at the time, probably a child, and then you were listening, enjoying, learning, and not knowing that this will be part of your life ahead. And
Right.
I kind of feel that at that time you were having so much fun that you did not want it to end.
That's very true. That's absolutely true.
Hmm. What other neighborhoods and places in Silwan could you describe to us the tracks? Just tell us more about the tracks so our audience has some idea about uh, what the different places that you are evoking.
Yeah, so for the most part, the places that I'm talking about here are Silwan, Lifta,
Mhm,
and the old city of Jerusalem, and these are all different parts of Jerusalem.
mhm,
Um, Festival, Fig Tree, and Anthem are more about memories and experiences rather than places specifically.
mhm,
Um, they're all the entire album is almost feels like a novel. There's a lot of things that are unfolding in it
mhm,
as you listen to it, um, and it's very lyrical, although it doesn't have any singing, but it
mhm,
has this kind of lyrical feel to it. So it does tell a story. Um, uh, yeah, I mean, Fig Tree is a slower kind of ballad, and it's kind of it sounds pretty ambiguous rhythmically, but it's in 3/4, so it's a 3 beat rhythm throughout. Um, but it's very microtonal. So it's not, it sounds a little different. The scale sounds a little different. It has this um, kind of some of the pitches are pushed up a little bit, so
mhm,
that whoever is listening to it at first might would get it would take a few seconds until you get used to what this is, but it's a very interesting one to listen to. Lifta also has that, but it's a different mode. So I get like I'll give you an example. Lifta, Festival, and Fig Tree are and Cold City have microtonal music, not just something that you could play easily on just the piano. So the melodies have microtonal elements to them. So again, to explain it, it's there are some notes in there that are not available on a piano.
mhm.
They're just in between these black and white keys somewhere. Um, the instruments we have, for the most part, except for the piano, uh, can't play these tones,
Wow.
and the piano kind of uses harmony to go around them. So there's a lot of technique in arranging to make it work that way, and not interfere with the microtonal language. Um, Anthem is a very interesting one because it's longer. It has a piano breakdown in the middle of it um, that goes kind of in very different place, and then it comes back and it ends with a more upbeat kind of uh, buzuk solo that uses the instrument itself and its character and its tradition in a very assertive way. So this would be a very interesting one to listen to. I mean, the whole thing is has been in the works for a very long time.
For how
This
long?
is years in the making.
Mm.
We I started writing this in probably during and maybe slightly before the pandemic, and we rehearsed it. We went in the studio the first time in 2022 to start recording it. Um, what's cool about this too is that all of these tunes are on the album are also available to watch on YouTube. So the sessions we taped with multiple cameras. My friend Michael Fernandez is a great filmmaker. He taped the whole thing, so you can
Mhm.
actually see the sessions and how we actually played live
Okay.
in the studio.
Uh, you said that Silwan is kind of like a novel. Which track would you say is chapter one, and which track would you say is the last chapter?
I it's Thanks you for asking that. It's exactly how I laid it out in the album. So the
Okay.
first chapter is Silwan,
Hmm.
and the very last chapter is Anthem.
Hmm.
And Silwan and Anthem have a similar structure. They start slow and then they become really fast, and they have a very similar rhythmic theme at the end. So they're kind of different, not different versions of the same thing, but they're um, uh, uh, different tunes that have a very similar structure.
Brothers.
Yes, yeah. So they're almost like the front and the back, like they almost mirror each other in a way.
You said that microtonal is notes that you can't play on the piano. It's like in between those notes. But then, uh, do the microtones uh, do they have chords too, like major, minor?
No, so this is the interesting part. The Arabic and Middle Eastern music is a very linear um, uh, uh, tradition. So their harmony is not really used at all.
Oh,
So chords don't typically get used in this music. It's melodic, and in the tradition itself, because of the microtonal elements and because it's a very um, uh, it's a tradition that's very much based on the voice. Um, Melody is everything. So bringing harmony into this is very different. So it's not, for example, when you have a microtonal uh, kind of mode, the chord that you use may not, if you actually play a chord, it may be something that's in between a minor and a major, because the third note in it, the middle,
mhm.
is not flat or natural. It's in the middle. Does that make sense? So
Uh-huh.
then, so
Yes.
then how do you work with it? We have to kind of make space, like carve out space for that microtone to exist. So sometimes I would not have like I would just play the root and then skip a few notes, and then maybe play the fourth, the fifth, and the seventh for those who are musically inclined. So it's like they call it a, let's say a, a seven sus4 chord.
Mm.
It's a chord that carves out a little space in it, that's bigger than a third. So it doesn't skip a note, skips more than one. So does that make sense? So it
It
can be
does. It
either,
does.
so you can
Actually,
use either a major sound in it or a minor sound in it or something in between.
mm, actually, it hit me when you were describing it. You try to carve out a space for it, and that reminds me of the situation of the Palestinians. It seems as if only there were a way to carve out a place for the Palestinians in 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 that area.
Thank you. This is actually a wonderful analogy. Thank you for this. Yeah, this is an excellent analogy. Yeah.
Hmm. Let me see. There is. Well, you did not have much experience working with an ensemble and then arranging. So who saw that you will be able to do it, and how did you get that position? They found the right person. Who was the genius that found you?
I was a member of the ensemble for a very long time.
Ah, mhm,
Yeah, and yeah, I mean, even um, the time we interview, I interviewed for the position. There was a panel of the faculty in the university, and somehow they decided to take a chance. So I actually applied, and I came recommended, and they took a chance on it, and it worked out.
Your arrangements are really, really beautiful, and I feel that if they were set to lyrics, and you could find a singer to sing something along these lines, it would be so beautiful as well. Let's just imagine if you were able to like arrange these into vocal songs. Is there any vocalist that would immediately spring to your mind to have sing your compositions?
Oh, that's such a great question. This will I would have to think about this. There are so many vocalists that I currently work with who are just absolutely phenomenal. Um, for the interesting part about these uh, um, songs is that they were conceived almost as instrumental songs. So it would have to take a lot of imagination to think of how to or what would the lyrics even be, and who would uh, um, sing something like this. Um, that's a very interesting thought. But yes, I mean I work with wonderful singers. Some of them have a very unconventional voice too. So yeah, I can think of quite a few. I work with fantastic singers in the Middle East Music Ensemble who would be great fits for something like this too.
Uh, so what are your plans ahead? You finished this album. Are you already working on your next set of songs,
I am already, yes.
compositions?
I could not wait until to release this in order to start writing again because this was weighing on me, and now that it's let's say out of the system, I can start now coming up with new ideas. So yes, I have started. I have a couple of already two new tunes that are finished, and I'll be writing for the next one.
What's your what usually inspires you toward a new composition?
Um, that's another great question, actually. Some things actually it's very different from one to another. Some music that I write comes just as I'm driving or walking or cleaning, um, and I basically record it on my phone. Like I just kind of sing it into my phone so that I have record of it. Um, and later on, I would then put it through. I would write it down. I would start working on it, developing it, arranging it, kind of getting uh, the different emotions and textures into it, and kind of making a story out of it. So that's kind of the process. But sometimes I would be um, sitting down and thinking about something very specific, um, a story or an experience or even a picture or an event that takes place that inspires music. But for the most part, I think the inspiration comes after I come up with a small, a tiny theme.
A
Um,
concept, like a when you
yes,
come up with. Mm,
a fragment essentially, and this fragment, as I develop it, then it becomes then I start relating it somehow to a story or an experience. So they don't always the experience doesn't always come before. Sometimes it comes after because as I'm developing this tune that I came up with, um, it starts kind of showing me how it's related to something.
mm.
Um, yeah, so it's never it's a chicken egg kind of scenario.
And how did you start working with Fareed Haq?
The city of Chicago, they came up with this really brilliant idea of putting us together to reestablish the Chicago Immigrant Orchestra. We knew of each other, but we've never met before. But to their credit, David Chavez and Carlos Tortorero of the Chicago Department of Cultural Affairs and Special Events decided it was time to bring the Chicago Immigrant Orchestra back, and they spoke with Farid and they spoke with me, and they put us together. We met and we hit it off instantly. It was the best combination that could ever happen.
Musical.
uh, it was truly magical, and we worked together really, really well. We very much complement each other. My skill set stops at his skill set, and his stops at mine. So we're very much, together we complete the whole circle, and it's just a beautiful thing.
How has the current political situation affected the musicians in uh, the immigrant orchestra, Chicago Immigrant Orchestra?
Yeah, it had a big effect, and it informs how we approach music and how we approach our concerts. Um, um, it affects us. What affected the orchestra specifically the most is not only things that are happening internationally, but um, the things that are happening here in the country, and all of these ICE
Exactly.
chaos.
Yeah, that's
Right.
what I meant.
Yeah, and we decided that we're gonna be defiant and that we're gonna push back really hard, and we're going to be clear and assertive that this is a country of um, immigrants, and there is a massive, tangible, and uh, um, very, very significant value that the immigrant community brings to this country, and the immigrant community are part of what makes this country powerful and great and important. And um, the convergence of different perspectives and different approaches to things is what makes this country special. And we refuse to be uh, told that we're not an integral uh, part of the fabric of American society. So we basically we released an album recently. We called it Sanctuary, and we're showing that the immigrant community is not a monolith. First of all, we come from very different backgrounds, just like everybody who's American comes from a different background. We're here on Native American land, and we're all here from different parts of the world, and we try to contribute to make this place a better place. But it was a scary time. There was a lot of anxiety, and it was a lot of the members were worried about what's happening and about safety, and but we decided that we're gonna dig our heels in.
Mhm. Okay. Well, if our audience wants to learn more about you and uh, where to get the album, where should they go? Where to get Suwa?
Yeah, the album is available everywhere. A good place to go check it out is on Bandcamp. It's available as a digital download and as a pre-order for vinyl. If people like to listen to records on vinyl, um, and it's also available on all streaming platforms. Chicago Immigrant Orchestra's album is also available on Bandcamp and all streaming platforms. We play quite regularly in Chicago. We don't have anything on the books. We just played my release concert for the Silwan in February, and we had an event in December for the Chicago Immigrant Orchestra. But there will be concerts coming up, and they can visit our websites for more information.
What's the name of
And
your website?
my website is my name. It's waneeszarour.com. So it's WANEES Z like zebra AROUR.com. And I actually, you could just visit that because I put all of the concerts there, including the Middle East Music Ensemble at the
And,
University of Chicago.
And where could we find you on YouTube?
The Middle East Music Ensemble has East Loop, um, um, uh, which is the name of the band that recorded Silwan, is available on YouTube. We have a channel there. The handle is at East Loop Music.
Mhm. East
S
Loop, East as in East and Loop as in the Chicago Loop.
yes, exactly.
And how did that
Uh,
name come about anyway?
um, to be honest, we were looking for a name, and my guitarist came up with it, and we all liked it. So Sam Mushing, that's a credit to Sam Mushing, our wonderful guitar player, came up with the name because it plays on like it has a Chicago connection, but it also kind of evokes uh, some of the origins of this music, which is east of here, um, and um, yeah, and that's how we came up with it, and we stuck with it. But so East Loop Music on YouTube, um, and all of like I said before, all of the sessions, including also previous recordings that we've done, are all there on YouTube, so you can watch them being played from the studio, which
East,
is a
and look for East Loop. Is that the where they could find the sessions?
yeah. They can go to the website to eastloopmusic.com. They're there, but also they can
Okay.
go to YouTube, and the handle is East Loop Music
Do you have
on
any
YouTube.
young musicians that you are mentoring? Any rising stars under your wing right now?
Yes, I do. I do. Yes, and they're wonderful, and they're going to be huge contributors to the music scene here in Chicago.
Okay. Well, Wanees Zarour, thank you so much for joining us, and we wish you a lot of luck in all your future endeavors.
Thank you so much. It was so great talking to you. Thank you for having me, and it was wonderful being with you. I appreciate it.
We appreciate you too. Thank you so much for all you do.
Thanks. Thank you.